What if Anakin told the council about his marriage to Padme? The Clone Wars have been raging on for about 2 years and the death toll is rapidly increasing. It was a devastating conflict and one that had created a wedge in the entire Republic. Anakin Skywalker was tired. He was constantly away from home and never saw his wife Padme. After 2 years of conflict, this was beginning to take a toll on their relationship and they were both very confused, not knowing what to do. Every time he comes home, he has to be sneaky to ensure no one finds out about them, and it's exhausting. After working extremely hard in the war, all he wants to do is come home in peace and be with his wife whom he loves. But this is impossible unless he exposes their relationship and tells the council. Maybe, just maybe, because he is the chosen one, the council will let him have this attachment. Anakin and Padme would discuss this at length, outweighing the positives to the negatives. Anakin was for it, saying that he is tired of the deception. Even though Padme was a career-driven person, she agreed with him too. This wouldn't only have ramifications on Anakin's job, but could also place Padme's position as senator in jeopardy. Ultimately, they decide that telling the council is the best thing to do for their relationship. The following day, Anakin goes to the council chambers where he addresses the council. The entire council can sense the conflict within him the second he enters and asks what is bothering him. He takes a deep breath as the last-minute doubts enter his mind and he wonders if he is making a huge mistake. But he has to go through with it. He looks around the room and explains that 2 years ago on Naboo, he got married to Senator Padme Amidala. The council look around in confusion. Obi-Wan couldn't believe what he had just said. He always knew about their relationship or had a strong inclination that they were together, but he kept it a secret for their sake, never wanting to divulge the truth as he knew what the consequences would be. Yoda asks Anakin why he is telling them now, and he knows that the Jedi Code forbids this. Anakin looks at Yoda and explains that it has been difficult keeping this lie. He believes that he has control over his attachment and that there shouldn't be any reason for them not to be together. But he will face whatever consequences the council places upon him. He just wants to live a happy life with Padme. Windu was the most upset and did not care about showing it. His voice is raised and tone stern as he speaks to Skywalker, telling him he knows the consequences of breaking the Jedi Code. As Anakin goes to bow, accepting his fate, Obi-Wan interjects, explaining to the other masters that the code has been broken before and Jedi weren't expelled. This causes Plo to nod as he looked around the room to see if anyone else was open to the possibility of Anakin staying. Kenobi tries harder. He points towards Ki-Adi-Mundi, a member of the Jedi Council but also a father and wife. He has learned to control his attachment and Anakin can do the same. Windu simply replies that the situations are completely different. But Shakti adds that Anakin is the chosen one and his entire life is situated around bringing balance to the Force. Expelling him from the Order would be a massive mistake. Windu responded directly to her. It seemed as though he was the only one campaigning for Anakin's expulsion. He had always hated the boy. Plo Koon, a great friend of Anakin, comes to his aid, explaining that he has the best record out of any Jedi general during the Clone Wars, and getting rid of him would prove a great loss for the Order. Finally, Yoda speaks after taking into consideration the opinions of the other masters. He says that Anakin has openly told them this, asking for guidance. It would go against the Jedi Code to not offer him help in controlling his attachment. He is the chosen one and so things are different for him. He finally asks Anakin to leave the room momentarily whilst they vote. When he is out of the room, they discuss this further. 9 of the council members were in agreement that Anakin should stay in the Order, whilst 3, spearheaded by Windu's strong feelings, vote that he should be expelled. Ultimately, Anakin is allowed to remain in the Jedi Order. They call him back into the room and inform him of this. The only caveat is that he will undergo immediate training to help nurture his attachment and gain control over this. Everyone agrees except Windu, but he reluctantly agrees to help train Anakin. This training would take place immediately. He would have lessons with various masters on the council, showing him ways he can keep his attachment but not let it consume him. Over time, this would be nurtured. Palpatine would learn very quickly through his spies that Anakin told the council this. He already knew they were together, actually playing a hand in the original spark by recommending Anakin to go to Naboo many years ago, but it came as a shock that he told the council this. It hadn't factored into his plan, but the Dark Lord knew that he could use it to his advantage. It would only be a tool for turning him to the dark side, allowing him to play with his emotions and feelings for Padme. The war had been going on for 2 years now, and people's feelings towards the Republic and Jedi were shifting. Slowly, Sidious could implement the final stages of his plan. Secretly, he contacts Barriss Offee under the disguise of Darth Sidious. Barriss was a member of the Jedi Order, but her twisted relationship with the Jedi had caused her to fall to the dark side, and Palpatine could sense this. He knows he can use it to his advantage. He tells her to meet with him, something that the young fallen Jedi would immediately do, believing that she was meeting the Dark Lord of the Sith. Sidious brings her to his side, and she would believe she is becoming his prized possession as he trains her in secret. This training didn't go far. She was only an assassin, sort of like Asajj Ventress. She would never learn to use the true powers of the dark side, but would be taught to use her dark emotions to her advantage. He commands Barriss to secretly leak the information that Anakin and Padme are married to the Senate. This causes absolute mayhem amongst the senators as they begin to call for her removal from the arena. Many believed that she was committing treason against the Republic. For whatever reason, the senators did not like the fact that Padme was married to Anakin, believing that she would be influenced into her decision making and thus the Jedi would have more control over the Senate. The vote would be held where Padme is expelled from the Senate. This is exactly what Palpatine wanted, knowing that he would use this to bolster his own popularity. The fallout of her removal from the Senate caused uproar in the community. The people of the Republic loved Padme, arguably more than any senator at this time. Her reputation was pure, and people believed that she wasn't corrupt. But another reason why this caused so much backlash from the Republic was because of the reason she was expelled. The Jedi weren't popular at this point, but Anakin was. He was the hero with no fear, the poster boy for the Republic. For him to have a forbidden love affair and marriage with a senator would have acted as nothing short of incredible propaganda, especially since they look so good together. Their relationship became the talk of the town, especially for the higher-ups on Coruscant who lived lavish lifestyles and could delve into public drama. Palpatine's plan was working. The views of the Republic grew so loud and large that Palpatine had no other option except to address the Senate and make a strong decision. He calls a meeting and declares that he will hire Padme to be part of his personal cabinet. This was his way of publicly supporting her and Anakin. This had mixed reviews from the senators, but most of them were infatuated with Palpatine, and whatever decision he chose to make was obviously the correct one. This only bolstered people's love for Palpatine and made Anakin eternally grateful for his long-term friend and mentor. From here, Anakin would start to spend lots of time with Palpatine since he was constantly visiting Padme at his office. In a way that Palpatine didn't realize, this affair actually helped grow the reputation of the Jedi among the Republic, but especially the view of Anakin, who was now treated like the biggest celebrity in the Republic. Anakin and Padme would often have dinner with Palpatine and discuss anything and everything. They all became very close in a short span of time. Everything was right in Anakin's life. He was able to love Padme openly, was a proud Jedi Knight, and nothing could be better. Palpatine could see this and knew that it was time to throw a spanner in the works. He has Barriss Offee kidnap Padme. This causes Anakin to go absolutely crazy trying to find her. The Jedi try to help him, sending probes and asking all of the Jedi on missions throughout the galaxy if they have heard anything, but to no avail. This was Palpatine's plan and is going to perfection. He begins to speak further with Anakin, taunting him with the dark side and showing him that he can save her if he learns to use it. Palpatine would draw on Anakin's past to bring the emotion out of him, speaking about his mother's death, Padme's absence, and how his life isn't going to plan. Anakin would slowly become more emotional, becoming agitated and responding with anger behind his words. Palpatine would even mention the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise. Although not as effective in the story, he would twist the tale to depict the Sith Lord using the Force to protect the ones he cared about, something that Anakin needed so much at this point. Palpatine would soon reveal himself as the Sith Lord and explains that he knows where Padme is. His spies have picked her up, but in order to get to her, he has to know the ways of the dark side. Palpatine would tell him that his spies have located Barriss Offee on Korriban, the ancient world of the Sith. In order to gain passage to the world, he needs to forfeit himself to the darkness. Anakin would resign to this fact. He already had deep-rooted hatred in him, and now it was rushing to the surface. He couldn't control it anymore. He would do anything to get his wife back. Palpatine tells the Chosen One that he will meet him there. Anakin rushes to his ship, but he runs into Obi-Wan on the way, who can sense the internal conflict within Anakin. Anakin wasn't so far gone at this point where he would kill Obi-Wan and the Jedi. In fact, at this point, his hatred has nothing to do with the Jedi. He was simply engraved in darkness in the pursuit of finding Padme. Obi-Wan asks his apprentice what's wrong, but Anakin simply pushes past him, anger dripping from him. Kenobi assures Anakin that they will find Padme, but Anakin, his voice low and dark, says that he has found her and marches aboard his ship like a knight preparing to joust to the death. As Anakin leaves, Obi-Wan throws a tracker onto his ship. Kenobi immediately tells the council what has just happened, and they know that something is horribly wrong. Yoda tells Obi-Wan that he will accompany them and go to find him. Anakin goes to Korriban where he and Sidious find Barriss and Padme. Anakin doesn't waste any time. Igniting his lightsaber, he tells Barriss to let her go. Padme was confused, not worried about her survival, but only focused on the hooded man he was with, not noticing Palpatine under the hood. Anakin tells his wife to remain calm, everything will be alright. She can notice a shift in her husband, something was wrong, he wasn't himself. The figure of the hooded man sent shivers down her spine. Barriss had had enough. She ignites her crimson lightsaber as she goes to strike Padme down, fulfilling her master's wishes. But as the blade reaches Padme's back, Anakin extends his hand, calling on the Force to choke Barriss into the air. Her saber drops to the floor as he struggles for breath. Anger has risen to the surface, and Anakin has become completely consumed. Sidious congratulates Anakin and tells him to kill her. Barriss was shocked. She had been played in the same way Count Dooku was in another timeline. As Anakin goes to strike her down, Padme screams at him to not do it. He is snapped back into reality and he stares into her eyes, filling with tears. She explains to her husband that this isn't him, he won't kill an unarmed person. But Sidious combats her words, telling the Chosen One that she stole Padme and tried to kill her. The punishment for that is death. Anakin didn't know what to do. He was at a crossroads. Whatever decision he makes now would decide his future. Padme pleads with her husband, telling him to come back to her. As Sidious's patience begins to wane, Obi-Wan and Yoda arrived after following Anakin's tracker beacon. They tell Anakin that Padme is right, he is being manipulated by this Dark Lord into doing his bidding. Let Barriss go and they will help him. With Padme, Obi-Wan and Yoda comforting him, he is coached back to the light. He never sunk too deep and with enough hands, he is pulled from the water. Sidious is furious as he tells Anakin that he has chosen her fate. Raising his hands, he shoots lightning at Padme, but Yoda leaped in front of her and blocked with his hands. They ignite their lightsabers and begin to fight. They were surrounded by nothing but red dust and long dead skulls. Swinging with all of his might, Sidious fought for his life. As the three swung at him with determination, Sidious ignites a second lightsaber to increase his chances, but it doesn't help him. He is fighting against three extremely powerful Jedi, and he doesn't last long as Yoda delivers the final strike and kills him. Yoda and Obi-Wan bend down to remove Sidious's hood, but Anakin already knows the truth. Padme gasps as the face of Chancellor Palpatine is revealed, and she is absolutely disgusted, thinking back to all the time she was with him. She considered him one of her closest friends, and it was all a lie. She begins to cry as Anakin comforts her, assuring her that everything is okay. Yoda and Obi-Wan had been trained to be stoic and didn't respond as animated as Padme, but they were disappointed and knew that the following weeks would be difficult. The Clone Wars would be quickly won after Palpatine's death. Without the Separatist strong leader in the shadows, their tactics failed and they began to lose every battle consecutively, until Count Dooku was ultimately murdered in his palace on Sereno by Master Plo Koon. In the Senate, Padme is elected to be the new Supreme Chancellor. Her popularity has never been higher, and she was arguably one of the most well-known beings in the galaxy. This catapulted her through the election and made her the Chancellor very easily. The council would recognize that Anakin was manipulated by the Sith, but was still able to find his way back to the light, which was a very rare and unique thing. They congratulated him, and with the end of the Clone Wars, he was granted the rank of Master. In the following weeks, Anakin would complete his training with Yoda and Windu, and he is able to control his emotions and not let his attachments towards others dictate his actions. Anakin and Padme find out that they are pregnant and know that they are on the path to true happiness, and that now they will dedicate their lives not only to the Republic, but to their family. If you enjoyed today's video, you must watch what if Padme told the council about Anakin's nightmares, and what if Mace Windu trained Anakin. Please check out our membership page if you would like to support the channel, it really helps us out. Thank you all for watching, and may the Force be with you.